Good morning, you guys. It's Jason here. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. I've got a new day down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. I've got a new day to sing down in my soul. And this whole wide world is my home. I hear the silence down in my soul. I hear the silence down in my soul. I hear the silence down in my soul. And that whole wide world is my home. I feel the power down in my soul. I feel the power down in my soul. I feel the power down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music. I hear the music. I can hear it down in my soul. And the whole wide world is my home. Yes, it is. And that whole wide world is my home. Yes, it is. Yes, that whole wide world is my home. Good morning, everyone.
Wow, what a fantastic song, Jason.
Such a great song.
It is. I feel the music, I feel the fire down in my soul. It is not only a stirring song, but it also gives us a visual of going deeper and deeper in our soul. I speak of that so often in our teaching. So I know is that song from one of the new song books you have? Or
Yes,
the
I
new
have
song book you have?
absolutely the Ultimate New Thought Fake Book. It's a dream, and
It's
that's
called The Ultimate New Thought
fake book.
Fake,
Fake book. Yeah,
Fake fake book. How interesting.
yeah. It's a genre of books for people like me. Fake books are. But that was written by Esther Nicholson. Really.
Esther Nicholson.
Mhm.
Wow. I wonder when it was first performed. Do you have any idea?
No,
So
zero clue.
it sounds very old school, new thought. Well, welcome this morning, Mr. Jason. So happy to have you back with us here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. And we're going to have a fabulous morning that we share together. So always love having you here, loving your soulful rendition of music. And I love your creativity to present to us new music today. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
See you in a bit. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox. I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. It's Sunday, May 28th, and we've come together again to be in community through our virtual space to have the opportunity to connect with each other in this technological world that we have, as well as to connect at an energy level with each other and to remember who we are. And so wherever you may be and however you may be joining us, whether that's live through Zoom and or YouTube Live, or if that's through a later time where you're watching a recording, I affirm for each and every one of us that we are exactly in the perfect place at the right time, being the power and the presence of the divine, and going deeper into our soul and feeling the stirrings of life itself, of the music of life itself. This morning, I'm going to take us on a journey with some slides and multimedia, and I'm going to put that on the screen right now to get us started. Once again, we are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and our vision statement is to support individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Today, it's my invitation to you to open up to that spiritual awakening, to find a new way of both viewing yourself and the presence of the divine, which are one and the same. We like to begin our service on Sunday mornings by honoring each other in community. We do that through the act of namaste. Namaste is a Sanskrit word, and its meaning is I bow to thee. The physical act of namaste is putting your hands together in prayer position over your heart, as is shown on the screen. By taking a deep breath in and feeling the presence of the divine that is imbued within us, we oftentimes call it the light, as we will in our ritual in just a moment. But breathing in once again and feeling that and leaning forward and acknowledging that in all before us, whether it be human, sentient beings as four-legged animals or just life itself. It's the actual act of giving and honoring and then returning back upright and receiving. It's a metaphorical yet physical act of staying in the flow of the light itself, the light of the divine, one of the qualities that exist as the divine, as you and as me. As a community, we come together to welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. We stand with you to let you know you are safe here. In today's world where there are so many attacks, albeit a manufactured oftentimes issue, these attacks are coming at those that are considered less than what is perceived to be the norm in today's world. Those that express themselves freely of how they know themselves to be internally and then therefore externally. And we as a community stand for you living out your stamp of individuality just as you are. And so in this acknowledgement of that, I invite you all to affirm with me out loud. We welcome one and we welcome all. As a community, we teach primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. The science of mind is a culmination of all the great philosophies and spiritual philosophies of the world that were all ruminating at in what was called a time of new thought in the late 1800s across America and throughout Europe. There was this coming together of individuals who were ready to let go of old ideology in regards to the creation of life, in regards to the divine power and how we as individuals express this power. It was a new thought in regards to the power being one that we are imbued with, that we have the ability to experience and express this universal, creative, infinite power in the ways that we think, act, express, react, and interact with the very thing itself. So what we practice is a way of life that is a fine-tuning in our consciousness, our thinking, our actions, our reactions, our interactions in life with the thing itself, as Ernest Holmes calls this power, and to reflect its qualities of life that we each have within us. They're not limited to, but include peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. Today, may we each know together in a way unlike ever before that not only are we imbued with these qualities of the divine, but we have the opportunity to express them, to give them. And because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law, the very thing that we express and know ourselves to be returns back to us, multiplied abundantly. And so our role in this journey of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening is to open to the power, open to the thing itself, to give, to live, to love, to grow, to flow, and to know that just as we are, we're perfect, we're whole, we're complete at that depths of level of our soul that Jason sang of just a moment ago. It doesn't mean that in the everyday journey of our life, there are moments that reflect things that are other than those qualities. But because we're mental beings, we have choice. We have the ability to choose and to reframe and to tune back into the one power of life itself. And in so doing, provide opportunity for the power itself to respond as it always does, by corresponding to that state of mind, and provides to us opportunities for transformation in life. I'd like to open our service and the next level of our service with a morning ritual. This ritual is called calling in the light. As stated earlier, light is considered a quality of the divine. We are each imbued with it. The acronym that I like to use for light is living in God's healing truth. Just a reminder, that's not some outside power coming within us. It's the resonance of what's within our soul as wisdom, as power, and letting it make itself known and revealing it through our everyday actions. This ritual, calling in the light, gives us the opportunity to do that. As we focus on the candle light on the orb on the screen, let's all take a deep breath in, and as we exhale, allow ourselves to go deeper and to receive. Today we perform this ceremony, the lighting of this virtual flame, to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness and those qualities I spoke of earlier that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. As we feel the vibrations shift within us during this experience, may we become ever more aware of the light of life that exists in and as all expressions of life, which includes you and includes me. Today is Memorial Day in the United States of America. It's a time that we stop and remember those that have lost their lives for the freedom that we have in this country. It's the day that's set aside to remember with gratitude and pride all those who served and died for our country and for our freedom. May this day, your day, be filled with memories and peace. And join me in knowing that on this day of solemn remembrance, may we honor the lives that we lost. May we give thanks for those who served, saved, and rendered aid. May we give comfort to those who live with loss. And may we mend what has been broken. And may we bear witness to the act of healing. And may we acknowledge the love of the divine in all. And so I invite all of us to go inward for a moment and feel the presence of this energy, of this remembrance, of honoring and acknowledge anyone that you know of who may have lost their life fighting for our freedom. And if there isn't anyone, or including anyone that you know personally, let's bring to mind those that have gone through that process as Jason comes on the screen and takes us through the chant of Holy Light.
with God. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I am one with God. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am one with God. I am one with God.
And so it is. Such a beautiful chant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you do it justice for sure.
Thank you.
For sure, yes. And I loved that graphic I had on the screen. It didn't really occur to me prior, but as each of those lights sparkled in the background, it was very representative of those that we were honoring in that moment, and that have passed, that fought for our freedoms on Memorial Day. So Jason, you have another song for us that's selected out of your fake book.
I do. This is one that's
You call it fake book.
Yeah. This is a piece composed by Herb Oda, and it really moved me the first time I heard it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's called Closer to the Light.
Fabulous. Oh, how wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, from day to day, it's so hard for me to say if the road that I'm on now will lead me right. But from year to year, it becomes a bit more clear. Seems like I'm getting closer to the light. And when my burden's great, so that I bend under the weight, and it seems like I'm surrounded by the night. Oh, well, I don't mind traveling along this darkened road if I'm traveling closer to the light. Every day I start with this compass in my heart, and it helps to keep the road within my sight. And as I go forth, looking for the magnetic north, seems like I'm getting closer and closer to the light. And when my burden's great, so that I bend under the weight, and it seems like I'm surrounded by the night. Oh, well, I don't mind traveling along this darkened road if I'm traveling closer to the light, if I'm traveling closer to the light.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you.
Wow. So much to unpack there, you know?
Yeah. Stunning lyrics.
Stunning lyrics.
Yeah.
And yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm a little speechless on that.
Hey, it's okay.
As we all know, that won't last very long. So fabulous. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
So as I said earlier, we're going to go on a journey of multimedia slides today for our message. And I do believe that this song that Jason just sang indeed will prep us for where we want to go as well, to really think about how do we become closer to the light and what does that really mean for each of us. Hopefully I will be able to, not hopefully, I will share with us today ways that not only supports that for each of us, but inspires us to begin to feel and think anew. So we are wrapping up the month of May with our theme, Today is the Day. And I'd like to begin that by wanting to remind us, or by reminding us all, that what we're called to do as we live closer in the light is to tune into being beings of love. My acronym for love is Life's One Vital Energy. And I believe that as we live in this state of love, Ernest Holmes defines it as the self-givingness of spirit whose desire is to create more of itself, and it does that through you and through me. Dr. David Hawkins tells us that love is a state of awareness, not necessarily a human emotion. We so often look at it as a human emotion, and I think that we can live our lives, and I think we're called to live our lives both through the act of the human emotion of love itself, in that emotional state, as well as the physical state, which is the eros love, and then the other is the agape love, the spiritual love of both loving spirit and letting the presence of the essence of spirit be love through us. It's a way of being in the world as we develop our awareness of living closer to the light. A great example for us of living closer to the light and the transformation that takes place as we transform ourselves from what was into what can be, the revelation of the innate nature of the seed of the divine that's within all of us, is a butterfly. I love this poem in regards to a butterfly that's this: the butterfly. As love falls down from the sky, it lands on the wings of a butterfly. The butterfly sings its songs and rhymes and flies through the air. No concept of time, it's the messenger of patience and change. From flower to flower, it's odd and it's strange. The butterfly can transform its world and give way to new beginnings, unfurled. It is the keeper of transformation and flies on faith and imagination. The butterfly has no fear of change. It bravely escapes its homemade cage. To change, it knows is necessary. For all the burdens we need not carry, the butterfly soars and merrily sings. For without change, it could never grow its wings. So often we look at the butterfly and rarely admit the changes that it's gone through to achieve that beauty. I've been working with a client of late who loves to look at this analogy of the transformation of the butterfly. And through conversations we've had, we've played with this term of, to get to the good, you got to go through the goo. And if you think of it and look at what's happening on the screen as the butterfly transformed, that indeed is the case. There must be this birthing through the goo of what was, so that the essence, the thing that is to be, must emerge itself, so that we may reveal the beauty that is innate within each and every one of us. Today, I invite us each to open up to what is calling from within for each of us to express that beauty, to remove the goo that we know is there through external situations, but more importantly, through ideology that we have for ourselves, the way that we think and feel and know about ourselves, whether it's true or not. To remember that today is the day that we get to tune into transformations, innate and natural transformations, and let them be a way of life. Transformation itself is not something that is automatic. It must be learned, it must be led, it must be revealed. Even though we know it's automatic for the butterfly, it is a metaphor, if you will, for us, that for us to move through the goo to the good, we must move into the light. We must call upon the light. We must get closer to the light so that it within itself may reveal itself through us. The question is to transform or not to transform. I know for each and every one of us, we have the desire within us to live in a state of transformation, to remember that the world is already perfect, that world within us. The perfect world is created as the mind is free to see it. In our teaching, our philosophy, our faith, and way of life, one of the things that certainly called me into it, and I'm assuming that is for each and every one of you, is the opportunity and the possibility to reframe both our perspective and engagement of the energy of the divine, but as well as ourselves as part of the co-creative process, to remember that as we change our thinking, we can indeed change our life. That's a lofty idea so often in life. On my own personal journey, and as of late, I've realized that it is those moments by moments of changing thinking, of even allowing myself to be in the goo at times with the understanding that my role in this journey is to bring in the light to melt away that goo so that I may transform. Not transforming necessarily so that I have different external experiences, but transform from within as a revelation of the power of the divine that's already there within me. To have a deep-seated faith and trust that all is indeed well. And that it's through moving into my soul, as the song sings, the song that Jason sang, the lyrics say, and placing the light upon it and let that stirring happen, that then it rises up and my perspective can indeed change. It's spiritual transformation we're talking about, not necessarily physical transformation. Spiritual transformation involves a fundamental change in a person's sacred or spiritual life. It's stepping to that next stepping stone of our journey of awakening or enlightenment or understanding or acceptance of the power that's there. Sorry, I don't know quite what happened right there. Let's go back and see if we can fix that. Let me stop that. Something happened there, so let me get back here. Just one second, I'm sorry. I'm going to do this for just 1 second and then go again. Boy, this is requiring transformation, isn't it? Let me stop that. Let me do that. Let me do that. Let me do that. Let me do that. And we're back. So spiritual transformation, faith, that's what was required of me just in that very moment. Spiritual transformation involves a fundamental change in a person's sacred or spiritual life. What just unfolded was an example of that. Early on in our Zoom days, when that would have happened, I would have had an internal freak out. I would have not been able to move through the goo to allow the good to show up. Having done this enough on my journey of personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening of using this technology and trusting the power within, I knew that there was movement that was required on me and wisdom within me to bring me to a understanding of how to reveal and trust getting back to where we needed to be to move us on this journey. It's a transformation of my sacred and spiritual life, of understanding that there is that within me that knows that it knows that it knows. Looking at this concept of spiritual transformation, it goes on to say here that psychologists examine spiritual transformation within the context of an individual's meaning system, as I just spoke of, especially in relation to concepts of the sacred or of ultimate concern, meaning what we hold as an idea within us as the divine power of that within us that gives us the opportunity to make transformation. This article goes on to tell us that two of the fuller treatments of the concept in psychology come from Kenneth Pargament and from Raymond Paluzzian. This is what Pargament says. Pargament holds that at its heart, spiritual transformation, that awakening, refers to a fundamental change in the place of the sacred or the character of the sacred in the life of the individual. Spiritual transformation can be understood in terms of new configurations of strivings. It's exactly what Jason was singing about in the song before. It's also part of that chant, O Holy Light. What Pargamon is telling us here is that transformation in this context at its core is a very fundamental change within the individual of their belief and identification with that which we hold sacred in life as the power of life itself, or that which we hold as the representation of that power. Each is okay for each of us individually. The key is to be open to that fundamental change of opening up to a higher idea around it. Paluzzian suggests that this spiritual transformation constitutes a change in the meaning system that a person holds as a basis for self-definition of who we know ourselves to be in regards to this power, this spiritual power within us, as well as the interpretation of life itself and the overarching purposes and ultimate concerns. In other words, our state of mind around our spiritual nature. I think each of these, or all of these, may hold true for all of us at different times, and sometimes all at the same time. What I believe it's calling for each one of us on our journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening is the tuning into the ongoing transformation of our spiritual awareness, which leads us to an ongoing transformation of our spiritual awareness, which leads to an ongoing awakening of our spiritual nature. It's calling us to be, as being shown on the screen, to live as a mystic, not an aspiring magician. Well, what is the difference, you say, other than a set of wings and a cute fairy wand to ting and bring forth our good? A mystic is one who lives on the journey of evolving into their awareness and engagement of seeing life through the lens of the oneness that it is. That interconnected, interrelated nature of spirit itself that we're all one with and as. Knowing that what is to unfold, just as my experience earlier with technology, that what happened wasn't magic. It was a alignment of the interconnectedness of energy to bring forth a higher idea through us, a solution, if you will, to that which has presented itself as a problem in life. It's important for us to remember that we don't need magic, the unexplainable, that which may or may not happen, to transform our world, to remember that we carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. The light is within. That you and I have within us this power already that we can lean into, that we can rely upon, that we can use, if we're but willing to open up and let it reveal itself to us, to illuminate our pathway of life. So often we look at that illumination and that pathway as an external experience. And yes, it can be that. But I think more importantly, it's the internal journey, the lighting of the way to source itself. Dr. Ernest Holmes defines this power in this way. He says it's the energy by which everything lives. The creative medium of spirit is the great mental law of the universe, the universal law of mind. It's the one medium through which all law and all power operate. And the human's creative power is marvelous. For every time they think, they set the law in motion. As their thought sets the law in motion, they are specializing it for some definite purpose. This should give to all a sense of freedom and a realization that there is neither competition nor monopoly. It leaves each to work out their own salvation, not with fear and trembling, but with a calm sense of peace and assurance. The human may transmute as much of the infinite energy into degrees of power as they choose to use. Today I invite us all to make a choice to use the power of the mind, our mind, the thing itself, in new and wondrous ways to bring forth through us a greater sense of knowing who we are. To remember it's through the transformation of the internal state that the outer changes. This quote on the screen tells us, transform your world by transforming your internal state. Start by learning to let go of negative self-judgment and replace it with positive and loving thoughts about yourself. Be kind to yourself and watch your external world change. This is from Anita Morjani, who is an author, teacher, and healer. She's telling us it's how we tend to our insides that our outsides will change. We're familiar with this concept through the chameleon. The chameleon is a lizard that changes its colors regularly. It's typically done to adapt to conditions or environments. Today, I think it's very wonderful that we can look at the chameleon and know that it has this power within itself. And yes, we are all one, but for us, I would like for us to take a new perspective, a new approach here. That we change what's going on within us, our energy, not to adapt to conditions and environments, but to be the emanating force by which our conditions and environments change as a result of what we are doing internally. That if we live as the chameleon changing our colors, it's not to deflect from what's going on around us. It's to change the vibrational frequency of what's going on around us as a result of what we're doing inside of us, and the world around us changes. Imagine living in a world where the mosaic of colors around us are forever changing because of who we know ourselves to be. It's important to know that ignorance stays with us until the day of enlightenment, until our vision towards the spirit broadens and casts out the image of a no longer useful littleness. What we now experience, we may cease experiences if we have the will and the imagination to set our vision in an opposite direction and then hold it there. It's the office of the imagination to set the vision. I invite us all to begin to imagine ourselves as if we are those chameleons or the chameleon that we saw on the screen a while ago, and using it once again not as ignorance to defend ourselves, but to be the catalyst for change, to be the catalyst for transformation from the inside out. The will should hold it in place. The will meaning the willingness to stay tuned into the power itself until the creative genius of the inner life transforms the image of limitation and transmutes it into liberty under law. As you and I continue, thought by thought, action by action, reaction by reaction, interaction by interaction with life itself on the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, may today be the day when we tune in to that power within us in a new way. May we trust it in a new way. May we rely upon all that is transformed in our life before, but let this spiritual awakening be an experience of freedom, of finding that liberty under law, as stated. to look at this image on the screen and begin to know that the answers to what, where, who, when, why, and how are all the same. It's the tuning into and the reliance upon the thing itself, the light within us. It's a fine-tuning our consciousness to know that what are we to be? The light of the divine. Where are we to turn? To the light of the divine. Who are we to know ourselves to be? The light of the divine. When are we to tune in to the light of the divine? Now, as the light of the divine. Why? Because the light of the divine is there. How do we do it? By moving and turning inward. By feeling it. By allowing it to rise up and make itself known. By affirming that it's there. By letting others support us on this journey of knowing who we are. It happens by beginning to settle down the clutter and the clank that's going on in our mind, in our brain, by raising our energy level, our consciousness to a level of an awareness of the thing itself within us. Dr. David Hawkins tells us that at this level of awareness and acceptance, an acceptance that the power is there, an acceptance that we play a role, and the acceptance that it is good and it is within us waiting for our realization and revelation of it. He tells us that at this level of awareness, a major transformation takes place with the understanding that one is both the source and the creator of the experience of their life. Taking such responsibility is distinctive at this degree of evolution, characterized by the capacity to live harmoniously with the forces of life. What level in consciousness are you willing to accept today, framework of mind, that you are both the source and creator of your experience? That when you choose to take responsibility of accepting that as your reality, our reality, and that we evolve in so doing, that then we begin to live more harmoniously with what's going on in life. Today is the day for that if we're willing to take steps to improve our self-awareness. In the book Inner Drive, it tells us there are 6 ways to do this. 1, to ask for feedback, meaning ask for feedback from people that you trust and know that will speak truth to you and truth for you. In asking for feedback, we can identify and modify any incorrect views that we've established about ourselves. The second is to recognize our strengths and our weaknesses. This allows us to sustain our strengths and work on our weaknesses, meaning weaknesses in the way that we approach life, that we think about ourselves, and how we tend to the overall well-being of who and what we are. The next is to live from a state of self-respect, self-reflect, and self-respect. Reflect on the power that is within us and the way that we think about ourselves, and be willing to transform those and transmute those into higher ways of being. Living in a state of self-reflection unlocks thoughts and emotions that might otherwise be disregarded. And without a doubt, monitor our self-talk. Make sure that our self-talk is positive and it celebrates our wins, our spiritual awakenings, and don't dwell on that which we feel like have been our shortcomings. The fifth is to say no. Practice saying no. Set a goal for ourselves and the number of temptations that we'll resist each day. Saying no may not give us immediate gratification, but potentially can provide long-term gain. Saying no to those things that are distractions, that are not activities that propagate our good. And the sixth way is to question our decisions. Ensure that any decisions that we make are good ones by coming up with 3 reasons as to why you should pursue them. This will allow you to better understand your motives and be confident that you've chosen the best available option. Now, all of these are certainly great ways to begin to improve our self-awareness and knowing who we are and aligning ourselves with an acceptance of the power that we're imbued with. What they all are giving us a prompt to do is to be engaged with our life, to be engaged of moving through the goo into the good, of being engaged and trusting that the nature of nature is to bring forth through us beauty, and that it may reveal itself and fly like the butterfly throughout the world, and indeed making a difference. May today be the day that you choose to live in this new way, knowing that indeed life gets better and better and better because we've called in the light, and so it is. Thank you very much. Jason's going to come back on the screen and take us through our next song.
Hey, you guys.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I'll dry them all. I'm on your side. When times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I'll comfort you. I'll take your part. When darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl. Sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. troubled water. I will ease your mind. Your mind. Your mind. Your mind.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. The song has such deep meaning, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful rendition. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you so much.
So here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, we welcome you being here today. I want to let you know that on Wednesday mornings we have a midweek morning meditation that you can join us on. That starts at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. It is a time to connect and do some guided meditation. You can find that information through our website, csl-la.org, or through our weekly e-newsletter that goes out the first part of the week. As well as you can find us on all the different social media sites of Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and Meetup, and it goes on and on and on. You can find us all there. As well as our app is in the process of being relaunched. I think that's going to take place in the next few days. I know it's supposed to be ready to be launched on Tuesday, and then from there, I'm not sure exactly what the final timeline is, but watch out for that and be ready to tune into that app. If you haven't been using it, please sign up for it. And if you are using it, know that you're going to get notifications that will need to update it. We have really worked hard in the last few weeks to streamline that app so that it's incredibly modern day and user friendly. So I invite you all to begin to use that in a new way. Each morning we have a text that goes out. It's called A New Thought for the Day. At 7:30, it's a 320 character or less message to give us the opportunity to remember that today is the day that we can transform our world by transforming our thinking. It's a great way to kick off your day. If you begin your day at 7:30, if you begin it earlier, if you're on a different time zone, it'll be a great, it shows up exactly when it needs to show up, because that's the way it works. A big thank you to Jason Goldstein, our musician here today, who always brings such wonderful music, and you give such, you give attention to, paying attention to the music that you play here. So thank you for that, Jason. Very, very, very much thank you for that. A big thank you to Travis Smith, our audio technician, who keeps us all tuned in, if you will, to a higher framework of consciousness of sound. And then to Robert Hensley, who does that for us through our social media site and through these online technology sites and our administrative assistant. So a big thank you to Travis and to Robert and to Jason, and a big thank you to each one of you for being here. Know that your presence is of great significance and appreciated, whether it's here on Zoom or at a later date, or whether it is indeed through YouTube. I'm going to put on the screen right now the methods to support our community financially, and know that it's all very much appreciated and honored and welcome and needed as well. And so it's an opportunity for each of us to step into the way that we know the universe to be as an abundant expression of life. And let's know together that as we give, life supports us and responds to us as it always does, and that we give with an open mind and an open heart, and understand that life itself is all about the continuation and the propagation of good, and we participate in that lovingly and respectfully and consciously. As we do that, you can see on the screen the ways to do that. Jason's going to take us through a song of conscious giving, and please do your part to support our community, and thank you in advance. Jason?
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit
conversation. So let's let that be our closing song, and let's know together that Spirit indeed does live through us. That today is the day that as we move forward in life, we do so by going deeper within our soul, by allowing the light to make itself known in a new way. And our life indeed gets better and better and better. Not because we're seeking some external change, but because we're aligning with the power that is within us. Celebrate you being you and let it out to the world. Make a difference because you are the power of the divine fully expressed. Have a fabulous Memorial Day weekend. Know that you're loved and celebrated just as you are. Thank you. Peace out.